Hello and welcome to another episode of the Respecting Your Elders podcast. We are here in Hollywood, California, and today our guest is my old friend, Matt Fleming. Thanks for coming on the show.
Old friend, respect your elders.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that, but take it how you please. You're not that much older than me, but technically you are older than me, so you're allowed to be a guest.
Is that what the show's about?
Yeah.
People that are older than
Just
you?
me interviewing people that were born before June 1982.
I qualify.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
overqualified.
I'm overqualified, yeah.
So, alright, where did you grow up?
Springfield, Virginia.
What was that like?
It was fun. I guess, I was thinking I spent a lot of my childhood wishing I was Asian because all of my friends were Korean.
Was your school predominantly Korean, or just for whatever reason that's who you hung out with, or in your neighborhood?
I wouldn't say it was predominantly Korean. I would say that my high school had a really large Korean population. Not the majority, but definitely like 30%, 40%, something pretty large. So all my friends were Korean though.
Do you have any idea why? Just happened that way?
I think it just happened that way. Yeah, Springfield is a pretty diverse area, I think, as far as places in Northern Virginia go. But I don't know why so many Koreans were in this neighborhood, but I don't know.
Did that ever come up, like you wanting to be Asian, like with your parents or your friends, or
There
you
was
just keep it
no.
to yourself?
I think it was implied in who I hung around with, but I never had there was no intervention or never a time where I had to sit my parents down and tell them that, I really wish I was Asian.
Yeah, okay.
It's the kind of thing I sort of kept to myself, but it was true.
When did that phase pass, or do you still wish you were Asian?
Sometimes I still wish I was Asian. Now, I don't know when it passed. I guess my friends changed a little bit, and I moved out of Springfield, but maybe became more comfortable with myself and less wishing I was Asian just for the sake of being Asian. I enjoyed all the perks of being Asian. I still had Asian friends and enjoyed the cuisine and the lifestyle, if there was really a different Asian lifestyle. But
did you have brothers and sisters?
How
many?
I got 3 brothers.
Older?
None of them are Asian. One is older. He's 9 years older than me. One is a stepbrother who I grew up with. He is like a year younger than me. And then another one is 7 years younger than me. He's a half brother. Same dad, different mom.
You have a complex family tree like I do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people these days. How old were you when were your parents married ever?
Yeah.
When did they get divorced?
I don't know exactly, but I think I was under 10, probably 6 years old, something like that.
Okay. I was 6 when my parents got divorced. And
I think they both got remarried when I was 10 or 9 or 10 or something, so maybe 6.
would you go back and forth between the 2 houses?
My dad's every other weekend.
Okay. Yeah, I had a week on, week off situation. And did they both stay in Springfield?
No, my dad lived in Alexandria for a little bit, but then Arlington. So Virginia, Northern Virginia.
Okay. Did you notice any differences with Arlington, Alexandria, and Springfield? Or what would you do with your dad for the weekend?
Yeah, I guess there were differences a little bit, but because I didn't live there, I just sort of hung out with whoever was on the street, like who lived on his street. And we would go to his wife's family's house in the Blue Ridge Mountains a lot. I don't remember what else we used to do.
What would you do in the Blue Ridge Mountains?
I would watch a lot of TV. If it was warm outside,
Beautiful place to watch TV.
Yeah, you couldn't wait to get away and watch TV.
Skyline Drive.
Really,
It's right there.
I think it irritated my dad, but we would go for hikes or mow the lawn. Mowing the lawn there was kind of like a thing because it was huge, and you got to ride the riding tractor or the riding lawnmower, so it was kind of fun, but it had to be done every weekend, and it took 3-4 hours, so it was like kind of a thing. But I actually really enjoyed doing it until they sold the house, or until we stopped going there a few years ago. I still would volunteer to do it.
Do you remember liking any subjects in school or anything in particular in Springfield?
No, I don't remember liking any. I remember things in particular, but I don't remember liking any subjects.
What do you remember?
Well, I remember a lot. We used to play a lot of sports. I remember disliking a lot of subjects. I thought school was boring, a waste of time. I was always smart enough to get by without working very hard. And I don't say that in any sort of complimentary way. It just was the truth. Like, I realized that I didn't have to work that hard and I could get by. And so I didn't work that hard. Had I applied myself, I probably could have done a lot better. I would have definitely done a lot better, but I dropped that anyway, so.
Okay. Did it seem like it was easy for most of your classmates, or were you like one of the top?
I mean,
was it just an easy school?
If I stood out in any way, it was largely theoretical. As far as anything
in your own mind.
Yeah, as far as any sort of achievement or anything like that, there were a lot of people getting above C's.
Did you have any extra curricular stuff?
I played sports with my friends, but
what sports?
We played a lot of basketball. We played like playground football, where like the fence or the tree line is the sideline, and you had to avoid the green transformers, and it was a little rough. Occasionally people got hurt. But
stakes are raised.
Yeah, occasionally people got hurt. The fence as the sideline was always a rough one. And one of the end zones was downhill, like really downhill, like a 10-foot drop.
Wow, steep.
Mm-hmm.
We used to play mall ball where everyone just tackled the guy with the ball. That was pretty rough. Were you close with your brothers at all?
I was pretty close with the stepbrother, the one that's close in age. I was not particularly close with my older brother, and not particularly close with my younger brother. I have become more so as time has gone on, but no.
The one that's a year younger, do you remember, what would you guys like bond over?
To be honest, we hung out a lot because we lived in the same house and had the same friends in the neighborhood, but I don't think we really had like a close relationship in that sense, so we didn't really bond over things. We did shared activities, but I don't know.
I didn't grow up with siblings. Like, I have a bunch of siblings, but I sort of grew up as an only child. My older brother moved back in when I was like, well, not back in, but he moved in with us when I was like 12. But he was sort of like 13 years older than me, so it was more like a babysitter, parental situation. So I really don't know what that's like, having a sibling that's like close in age. Yeah, so I just don't know.
Well, I
I mean, I can imagine. I've seen the Brady Bunch.
It wasn't exactly. It was actually just like the Brady Bunch.
Oh yeah.
No, I think part of me was I didn't necessarily love the idea of a stepbrother. I didn't like my parents getting divorced, and so maybe I didn't have a close relationship with him because of like side effects of that. So like I said, we weren't
like you represent.
We weren't close in like a friendly sense, but we hung out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely, if we bonded over anything, it was sports, like football cards, baseball cards.
Worthless now.
Worthless now, yeah. Worthless.
I had a whole bunch.
Me too. Worthless. I had a bunch of comic books too, and I gave them to our mutual friend Courtney when she was she had a residency at UCI's hospital, because she worked in the pediatrics or something like that.
Oh, cool.
And I gave them to her just to
For the
give them
kids?
to yeah. And
That's
I think
nice.
she just left them in her trunk and never did anything with them. But regardless, on my end, I felt like I had done a good job.
Yeah.
But that was the value that they had.
Your hands are clean.
My hands are clean. And
Can you really put a value on a child's smile?
no, you can't. I'm gonna text her that after this.
Good. You should.
I'm gonna ask her about all those kids' smiles that never happened. Knowing Courtney, they're probably still in her trunk. That was like 4 years ago.
Too soon. Who was your favorite basketball player growing up? And football player, and what teams did you like?
We'll start with basketball. My team was always the Celtics.
Because your dad's from Boston?
No connection to the Celtics at all. I think that when I was young and impressionable, they were the team. You know,
Bird.
it was them and the Lakers, yeah. So
Why do you think you chose the Celtics over the Lakers?
I don't know. I would imagine it had something to do with video games or something like that. But Larry Bird was always really good in games. I don't really know. I mean, I still love the Celtics, but looking back on it now, I mean, I think Magic Johnson is the best. And I probably just had more exposure to them being on the East Coast. I mean, that would be my guess. Is I don't even really have memories of the Lakers, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
I have vague memories of an around the back pass or a high five.
Yeah, but I remember like watching the Celtics. I don't remember watching the
okay.
Lakers. My favorite player was Reggie Lewis until he died, and then I'd say it was either Jordan or Shaq.
Did he die of an overdose?
No, he died of like a heart problem. Len Bias died of an overdose.
Yeah. And then who? Shaq and who?
Probably Jordan.
Shaq, another famous Celtic.
I like Charles Barkley a lot too. Well, the Celtics after Reggie Lewis had a really dark period where their best player was Rick Fox and not a very good team. They had
So they were
Antoine Walker.
handsome, but
They were best in show, but not.
and then he came out to La La Land.
Plus, Shaq in that era. Shaq was probably every kid's favorite, or almost every kid's favorite, because he had those terrible rap albums, and he just was a personality, but he was dominant.
He just had a beef with Damian Lillard.
I gotta admit, I feel like Shaq's. I listened to it thinking I was gonna hate it because I've never thought he was a very good rapper, but he brought heat.
He has a lot of ammunition.
And actually, I think Lillard's a really good rapper, but I thought that I thought his was kind of soft. Like, he just kept talking about how it seemed like he repeatedly said how Shaq could have just passed the baton or passed the torch, and it's like, all right, so now you're just mad because he doesn't pay you enough respect, or he didn't, like, I don't get it. Like, you're taking a shot at Shaq is what? He doesn't respect that you're the 20th best player in the league?
I feel like we're on, what's the show in New York, 92.3?
Cribs?
What is it?
Cribs? Oh, you're talking about Breakfast Club?
Yeah, Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
This is turning into Breakfast Club.
Perfect. No, but I was really, really, really surprised. Shaq always had a really simple, kind of boring flow.
Fushnikins.
But even they were.
Can I shoot it?
But
Yes,
they were
you
even
can.
good.
Yeah, Fushnikins were good.
Shaq, I had never thought was a good rapper, although I did like that.
Don't let him hear you say that. He's gonna come for you next.
I liked the Unstoppable song, and then I liked Phil Was My Father. Biological didn't bother.
Sampling the Troy song.
Yeah, that was a hot song, but I think it was because of the beat.
I have to listen to it. I'm sure I've heard it, but
It's good.
I like Shaq. He's funny. He's trying to catch Jordan. He's a part owner of the Kings now. I don't think he'll ever catch Jordan because of
The Sacramento Kings?
Nike. Yeah,
I had no idea.
yeah. In his flow against Damian Lillard, he references owning a team. He just has so much more ammunition. Like, he just had so much success in his life. And
but-
what can Lillard say other than, like, you're old?
But as far as diss records go, like, he was constantly on the offense, and it felt like Lillard had some good insults, but for the most part, it felt like he was just like crying over the fact that Shaq didn't pay enough attention to him.
Do you think he just didn't try that hard, like out of indifference or respect?
I think he didn't expect Shaq to come back hard like that. That'd be my guess. And Shaq even picked a hot beat too. What did he pick, that Dr. Dre beat?
I don't remember.
What's the difference between me and you?
Yeah.
I think he picked that beat. It was hot. But I mean...
Though it is kind of a slow beat.
It's fine though.
Yeah.
Lillard,
West Coast.
West Coast, yeah. Lillard...
Represent.
Exactly.
What's your top 5 NBA?
Players?
Yeah, 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center, or whatever. Of all time. Bird, Magic, Jordan, Shaq,
Bird, Magic, Jordan.
LeBron,
Do I put... No. Am I put my favorites in there, or do I put...
KG. You can do both. Do your favorites. My favorites would be like Iverson, Latrell Sprewell, Vernon Maxwell, everyone who strangled
Birdman.
civilians.
Yeah. Definitely Jordan.
Javaris Crittenden.
Not Javaris
Is that his
Crittenden.
name?
Is he who does he play for?
No, I'm pretty sure that's the name of the guy that he and Arenas had a gun.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, there was Arenas
He died.
and he brought a gun.
He died.
Did he?
Like he got shot.
Or does Gil have an alibi?
He was not playing basketball somewhere professionally.
I mean, that would be a pretty good team if you had Ben Wallace, Ron Artest, Steven Jackson, Gilbert
yeah.
Arenas,
They would just scare
and
everyone.
Sprewell.
Intimidation.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good team.
My sister-in-law does Pilates with Rip Hamilton in Annapolis.
That's awesome. Why is Rip Hamilton in Annapolis?
That's a great question. Maybe he got a house when he was with the Wizards. She came home and was like, "There's this guy at our Pilates class." It's like all women and this guy. It's like everyone was calling him Rip. So my brother put
And he's
two
like,
and two together.
he's like 4 feet taller than everyone else.
Yeah,
I guess he's not that tall. He's like 6'5", 6'6", which is tall, but not NBA tall.
kept dunking on everyone. It's weird.
It kept taunting.
So top 5.
So,
your
top-
favorite players, and then your best if you want.
So my top 5 would be Shaq, Magic Shaq, LSU and Magic Shaq, not Lakers Shaq. I don't want Fat Shaq.
What about high school Shaq?
I don't know about high school Shaq.
Me
Maybe.
neither.
All right, so Shaq.
Blue
And
chips
I'm
Shaq?
picking him over Bill Russell. But I want to pick Bill Russell.
Okay.
But Shaq.
Noted.
Shaq.
Let the record show.
I'm going to go with a kind of a smaller lineup. Shaq, Paul Pierce,
That'll work in today's game.
and I think Shaq is more than enough.
The truth?
Paul Pierce, Bird, Magic, and Jordan. And Kobe doesn't get in there, does he? Oh well.
6 man.
Kobe's my 6th man.
Got 3 Celtics in there technically.
Shaq. Yeah.
And then, is that your favorites or your best? Or
We'll
both?
say that's both.
All right.
I mean, I don't think Paul Pierce is the best, but
Did
he's
you
my
s-
favorite.
Did you see that thing
He's good
about
enough.
the wheelchair game?
I loved it.
Did you hear what he said?
That he faked it. He just wanted to, he had to pee. He said he had to go to the
I
bathroom.
think it was number 2.
Maybe it was number 2, but
I
he
think
said
he
he had to
went.
go to the bathroom.
I think he said he went number 2 in his shorts.
Yeah, it was awesome. I love it. Everybody knew he was faking it. He's the best.
But did they know why?
I don't think think so.
I like him too because of just his short time with the Bullets.
He was great on the Bullets, yeah.
He was that veteran leader that they needed.
And he was always like a big game player. I always like guys like that. I like guys that show up and play well in the big game, which is why everybody on my team was a big game player. Like they got better. Pierce was an above average player in the league. Like he was an all-star game kind of player, but he was never the best player in the league. But I feel like in a championship game or a closeout game or fourth quarter or something like that, he was as good as anybody in the league.
He showed up, and he was at that time for the Wizards. He was load managing before it was cool.
Yeah.
Just like saving for the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. What was your football team?
Bears.
Bears.
Which has been less interesting throughout the years.
And why?
Why do I like
The
them?
Bears.
Because I was 6 in '86, and they had or '85, and they had
Say no more.
Yeah, but they were, again,
Walter
like Shaq.
Payton?
There was the football skill, but then like Shaq, they had all this. I was 6 years old, so I liked the fact that they were on Ghostbusters. I liked Refrigerator Perry. I liked all that stuff, like the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that. Jimmy, they had the Super Bowl Shuffle, the rap. Like I liked all that stuff.
I've been watching the Ram It video, which is like a similar to the Bears one. I think the Bears one came first, and the Rams said we need to make our own.
Is it terrible?
Terrible in the best way.
I'll be sure to check it out.
Yeah, guys playing the saxophone. Eric Dickerson's rapping.
Oh, good.
There's like a guy from West Virginia who's like, I'm a country boy. Ram it. Do you know how to ram it? I'm renouncing my DC sports fan card.
Shouldn't be too hard. Not much of a sacrifice.
Well,
Nationals maybe, but
it's like leaving a dysfunctional relationship or a long-term relationship. It's still hard.
it's still hard.
Even though they treated me terribly.
They might beat the Dodgers though. Nationals.
Knowing my luck, they will. The
The
Rams are 0-2 since I switched my allegiance.
The one year I was a Raiders fan, they made it to the playoffs. So I needed to be a Dodgers-Yankees World Series though,
For what
so I
reason?
can watch the Yankees in here.
That's your baseball team
Mm-hmm.
because they were good.
They
when
were
you
my
6.
dad's team. No, they were
okay.
actually terrible when I was 6, but my dad's team, and I'm an American, so I like the Yankees.
Is your dad from New York?
No, but I think he just grew up in the Mantle, Maris, DiMaggio eras. Maybe not DiMaggio, but Mantle and Maris,
Mm-hmm.
Whitey Ford and all them.
Mm-hmm. I'm going Rams,
Mm-hmm.
Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I can't root for the Lakers. They're too famous for being good. I can't bring myself to root for like a front running team like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think the jury's still out on whether they're going to be a front runner though.
I just mean like historically they're
Yeah.
a dynasty.
I generally like all the iconic teams at least a little bit. I mean, I like the Lakers. I hate the Lakers as a Celtics fan, but I like watching them. I can get behind them. I can't get behind the Clippers. It's so boring. Although they might be good this year.
Kawhi and Paul George.
And what's his name? Patrick Beverly.
Mm-hmm. Traditionally, I've always liked underdogs, but then I'm just setting myself up for disappointment. So I'm trying to be happy now and choose happiness. Cut ties with the Wizards, the team from Washington, and who am I forgetting? The Nationals. Okay, so the Nationals were never my team. I moved away from DC right when the Nationals came. I
Yeah.
grew up watching the Orioles get smoked by the Yankees and the Red Sox forever.
Yeah.
Just tragic.
Capitals.
I'm sticking with the Capitals for now.
That's fair.
They gave me some results. They showed that they're willing to try in this relationship.
Redskins are hard to watch.
You can say that again.
You want me to say it again?
No, it's all right. I'm just saying you have permission. I don't even want to talk about them. So, okay, you went to high school.
I did. I did go to high school.
What kind of music did you like? I already know the answer.
There was brief periods of non-rap, but I liked rap.
What did the non-rap periods consist of? Like alternative?
A little
Nirvana.
bit, yeah. A little bit of Nirvana, a little bit of Nine Inch Nails.
Alice in Chains.
Yeah, but then I didn't. I'd say that was probably maybe like the tail end of Metallica.
Pearl Jam? Oh, Metallica.
Always hated.
You like heavy metal?
I did. Yeah, I liked because of my older brother. I liked glam rock and then heavy metal.
The hair bands?
Yeah,
That's
loved
fun.
Poison, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses,
That's fun.
and then I liked Metallica, Megadeth, stuff like that.
That's awesome. I didn't really discover heavy metal in those bands until recently. Like, my sister got me Technotronic and Young MC when I was about 6, and I was just rap from that point on. I mean, I liked other stuff.
Yeah.
The Beatles and Hendrix and Bob Marley.
Mine was DJ Jazz. I mean, I liked DJ Jazz. Like, I liked the stuff my brother listened to, but it was like DJ Jazz, Jeff Fresh Prince, Run DMC, LL Cool J, like that kind of stuff I always liked. And then there was more rock for a minute, and then I came back to rap, and then it's pretty much been rap ever since for the most part.
Me too. Though my horizons have
Mine
been
too.
expanding.
I can't always listen to rap, but
Yeah.
I can a lot.
Yeah. I have a Spotify playlist that I put on shuffle, and it's a lot of non-rap, so I think it's good. Makes me happier. That's a plumber working on pipes that our building never told us about. I'm disturbed. Hopefully that'll bang for the rest of the podcast. What was going on in high school?
I skipped a lot. Not a lot of school. Skipped a lot.
Discovered
Got drunk.
girls?
No, really just got drunk and high a lot. Perhaps I discovered girls, but they hadn't discovered me, so.
And then you said you dropped out?
Yeah.
When was that?
Junior year and senior year. So I dropped out junior year.
You're still in Springfield right now.
Yeah, actually, I graduated. No, I passed junior year. I managed to pass the 2 classes I needed to pass to go on. And then senior year, I dropped out. And then I tried a second senior year and also dropped out of that.
Okay. How did your parents feel about that?
Don't know. Didn't really care. I would imagine they weren't. I would imagine they were disappointed, but I don't know.
Not really talking at that point.
It's hard to remember. It wasn't something that really I spent a lot of time thinking about.
Got it. That makes sense.
So, but I would imagine they were disappointed.
So then what happened after you dropped out?
I just had these bad jobs. Went back and forth between.
Like what bad job? Okay, go ahead.
Like I worked at Outback 3 times. I mean, Outback is obviously delicious, so it wasn't a bad job.
Free meal every day that you worked?
Mm-hmm. A couple free meals. I could eat whatever I wanted.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I worked at McDonald's and I got an extra value meal. That's it. But we would just eat
No, I mean we
all
would
kinds
cook.
of extra stuff.
Yeah, we would eat. I mean, there were people there was people there would cook for everyone. Like they would cook like. We had a lot of.
Those Australians are
No,
really
it
nice.
was like
It sounds like.
we had this one woman who did food prep, and I think she was Salvadorian, and there was another guy who was Salvadorian, and both of them would usually cook like. I don't even know what it was, but it was. I'm gonna guess it was Salvadorian, but maybe it was Salvadorian inspired. I mean, they probably just threw together whatever they could, but it was like some chicken stuff with rice and stuff like that. It was amazing.
So it wasn't Outback's food; it was their own menu.
Sometimes we'd eat Outback food, but sometimes, yeah. I mean, they'd just be cooking and they would just throw something together. A lot of the times too, like if they were cooking for like 10 people, they weren't gonna cook like 10 steaks for everyone, or 10 pasta dishes. Like they would just cook like a bunch of rice and then a bunch of like chicken with peppers and stuff like that, and just kind of throw that all together.
It sounds like free for all. It doesn't sound structured. Like, well, where was your manager? Like,
But they
people
didn't
just
really care.
cooking you food like throughout the day.
Well, everyone got a meal and they didn't really care, and they were cooking for everyone. Honestly, it was probably cheaper what they were cooking. So.
And would they say, "No worries, mate,"
Mm-hmm.
and then throw a
Good
boomerang?
day. Everything was served on boomerangs, yeah.
Oh,
And like you had to be quick because you'd stand in a line and then the boomerang would go down and then you'd go off it real quick and then it'd come back around and that was it. That's all you got.
That's brilliant.
It was really creative, yeah.
And did you have koala bears climbing around the restaurant?
Yeah.
Kangaroos?
No kangaroos.
Yeah, that would be a mess.
They were banned for fighting.
Makes sense. You had their picture up on the wall.
Their mug shots, yeah.
Alright, so, okay, where else did you work? Other terrible jobs.
I worked at this place called Auto Mall Online. It's kind of like CarMax, but beforehand.
You'd think you'd be allowed to do that from home.
No, it was a storefront in Springfield Mall.
Okay.
I never sold a car.
Were you supposed to?
Yeah, I was a car salesman. I was employed as a car salesman, is how I like to put it.
Auto Mall Online?
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't online? Or it was both?
People would come in and it was like, I guess it was like 98, so the internet was sort of just kind of becoming a thing, so we would shop for people online.
Like instead of cold calling?
Like they'd tell us what they want and then we would sort of...
Oh, I see.
We would cold call too. Actually, I don't even really know what people did to make sales because I never made anything, like I said.
Getting paid hourly?
Yeah. So that, I didn't work there very long. I had a job doing...
They fired you?
I can't recall.
Did you just fall off the map?
Maybe.
Do you remember them ever talking to you like, why aren't you selling any cars?
I think my brother was my manager, honestly, and no, I honestly don't remember what happened. So, I could have been fired, I could have just stopped showing up, I really don't remember.
What would you do at work?
Look online.
For cars?
No, I was like, I remember my coworker showed me what Google was. She was like, you can Google anything, and I was like, really?
Oh, so you were just searching anything and everything?
Yeah.
For fun?
Yeah.
And getting paid?
Exploring the internet.
I think a lot of people still do that.
Yeah.
In their respective jobs. Any other jobs worth mentioning?
I did electrical and plumbing for a while.
Okay. Those are useful skills.
Worked at a pet store.
Any good memories from that?
You got bit by a groundhog.
Go on.
I was trying to tame it. And
Trying to tame it? Would you catch wild groundhogs and bring them into the store?
Well, they had like a lot of like crazy exotic pets. Like there was sugar gliders. There was like these big birds. There was something else that was like not a normal pet, and then there was this groundhog. And I was
How
like,
does one tame a groundhog?
well, I don't know because I was never successful at it. I can tell you what I tried and it didn't work. Every day I just would come in and kept trying to pet it. Like on the top, it was very skittish. And then after a while, it kept letting me sort of pet it. So I tried picking it up one day and it just sunk its teeth right into my thumb. And then it went down to the bone. It was awful. It really hurt bad. There was blood all over it. It was really gross.
Your blood was all over it?
Mm-hmm.
What happened next?
I took my hand out.
I mean, did they put the groundhog down?
Did they put it down? No, they just kept it. I don't even think...
Did you have to get rabies shots?
No, I didn't get rabies shots. I might not have even told anyone.
You have a scar?
No, I think it's gone now. I think I did for a little bit though.
That's a unique injury.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you hate groundhogs to this day?
I definitely don't pick them up. That thing bit.
Do you have fun at the boardwalk? Those are hedgehogs.
Where? Oh,
Carnival?
kill them all. The whack-a-mole.
Bet you're
They're
good at
moles.
I think they're hedgehogs. The whack-a-moles?
Whack-a-moles.
Yeah, I think they're hedgehogs.
It's called whack-a-mole.
I don't know why. I just think they're hedgehogs.
Sometimes
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like you
pretty
just
sure.
don't know the difference between moles and hedgehogs.
I get that a lot. Try not to discriminate. So then, okay. What happened next? next? What was the job before the pet store that you mentioned?
Electrical and plumbing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I dug some
I had a
trenches
job.
and
I had a job at Bennigan's.
go on.
I was a host.
Did you have 16 pieces of flair?
That was Fridays. I did not have flair, nor did I stay employed for very long.
You were the host at Bennigan's?
Because after my experience at Outback, I was trying to get into the front of the house because there was more money. I was a cook at Outback.
Oh.
Trying to get front of the house. I
Okay.
was not front of the house material though, so they tried to have me be a host. I was very bad at it.
You surprised me.
Why? I was also bad as a waiter. I was a waiter for a week at Nick's in Springfield Mall.
What went wrong with the hosting and the waiting?
So the waiting, I worked one training day, and then I got really sick. I got a double ear infection, sinus infection, strep throat all at the same time. Very sick. So I was out for a week. Had a doctor's note, went back in, told him. And the guy sat me down and he said, no matter, after evaluating for a few days, no matter how hard you try, you're never going to be good at this. Which I thought was harsh.
That is harsh.
Especially after one day. Truthfully though, I think he's probably right. But I could have been competent at it.
Right. And you're probably thinking, I don't really aspire to be a host, waiter.
Yeah.
Anyway, stop talking to me like you're crushing my dreams.
Yeah, I cussed him out pretty good.
You did?
Mm-hmm. And then with the other one,
Fridays?
no, Bennigan's, I worked there for...
Well, I thought that was Bennigan's.
No, that was Nick's at Springfield.
Oh.
And Bennigan's where I was a host. I came in one day. The manager accused me of being drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was my day off. I was picking up my tip share. So, yes, I did get fired on my day off. But I had been drinking the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But this was like 2 in the afternoon. I was not drunk. I might have still smelled like alcohol, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I was underage, though.
Mm.
Regardless, my conscience is clean on this one. When we were walking to the back, though, I slipped. Because kitchens, you slip in kitchens. I mean, it just happens all the time. And, I mean, it wasn't like that. I just, like, kind of slipped. And he's like, look at you. You can't even walk straight. And I was like, it's slippery in here. And then I pushed him. One thing led to another. I got fired. And then I would always go in there and drink once I turned 21 and just be belligerent, berate him.
You
Take
pushed
care of my
him and
balls.
more things happened?
I don't think much more happened past that, but the situation had escalated once I pushed him. I was not pleased with him accusing me of being drunk.
That's pretty awesome. So, how did you end up in California? Like, what happened between those jobs? Oh, by the way, it sounds like you, like, had, like, sort of a go-get-em attitude. Like, you were trying to get all these jobs. You weren't just lying on the couch.
I mean, I needed money. I wouldn't say I had a go-get-em attitude, though. I would say I was really good at showing up for an interview. I was not very good at showing up for work.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people need money. They don't try to get jobs, though.
That's true. So I guess I was one step ahead of that, but...
When did you leave your parents' house?
For good?
Yeah.
Maybe 21?
Okay.
I mean, it was back and forth a lot. So for good, maybe 21, 22. But I had been out for a while and I came back. And then I did stay with my mom and stepfather again when I was 31, when I was finishing school.
Oh, where'd you go to school?
Maryland.
Did you get a GED?
I did get a GED one day when I was like 19 or something.
Just one day, that's all it took?
That's all it took. I don't think I even took...
Took a quiz?
Yeah.
I really don't know how that works, so...
I think there's like prep classes, but I mean, I don't remember ever taking the prep classes. I think I just went in and kind of took it. And as my entire school career had gone up to that point, I didn't
Mhm.
really study or do anything like that. I just showed up and hoped for the best, and it worked.
Well, that's pretty nice. So you went to Maryland?
Years later, yeah.
4 years?
I did 2 years at Montgomery College, which is the junior college, and then did a year and a half at Maryland. I did summer and winter classes, so I got out of there a semester early.
Cool. My brother went to Montgomery College, and so did Jerome Williams, NBA player.
Okay.
He went to Montgomery College, and I guess we met his parents, oddly enough, in the stands. I used to go to Georgetown games, and I guess he grew 5 inches in his sophomore year, and next thing you know, he was at Georgetown playing with Iverson, Othello Harrington, and Don Reed.
That's awesome.
I can't believe that team didn't go further. They lost to that UMass team that had those little guards, and I think Marcus Camby. So that would explain it. But so what was that like, Montgomery College in Maryland?
I really liked it. I mean, I had underperformed for so long that when I finally started taking something seriously, it was really fun and refreshing to use my brain.
What was your major?
I was working towards a journalism degree. I don't think that was my major at Montgomery College, but that was kind of what I was. I think that's just
At
journalism.
Maryland?
Yeah, it was journalism
Oh, cool.
and creative writing.
As a minor, or?
Yeah.
Nice. I ended up majoring in English literature with a minor in Spanish. I kept switching my major. I was like English, and then they told me how much writing it was going to be. Theater, political science, and then I realized my 2 big political science classes that I was taking were like, I wasn't that interested in them. I would skip them, and so I thought that was a bad sign. And then I ended up majoring in English literature, but in order to graduate on time with the major, I had to take like 8 literature classes in 1 year, like 4 and 4.
It's a lot of reading.
A lot of reading and a lot of writing. So yeah, English degree, just like you.
Journalism school, you didn't have to do a lot of writing.
You had a journalism degree or English?
Journalism.
Creative writing was your minor.
Yeah.
Sorry. Good listener over here.
Journalism had a lot of writing, but I think the longest thing I ever wrote was like 1,200 words.
Okay. And then what after Maryland?
Started working for the Orange County Register in their DC bureau.
How did you get that job? Oh, at the DC bureau. Okay. What's up with the Orange County Register?
It was cool. It was fun. It was covered Congress. Got to be there for a lot of historical, newsworthy events. Got to meet members of Congress and senators, and really liked
a lot of committee meetings sitting in on.
I had to sit through some of them, yeah, but I always thought it was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And you only sat through the ones that were supposed to be interesting. You didn't sit through the boring ones.
House and Senate?
Yeah, although we covered more of the Senate, or covered more of the House.
Would you ever try to corner a member
Yeah,
in the
all
hallway or
all the time, yeah.
Really?
All the time.
with a camera or just
No, I never
Pad
did
and
with a
paper?
camera. Pad and paper, recorder.
pen and pad?
Pen and paper, pen and pad, pen and pen.
You need the pad
Paper and pen.
to be firm
Yeah,
so you can write on it, on the paper.
yeah, there's like little journalist notepads.
Nice.
And you always had a recorder too.
Would you ride that trolley under the tunnel?
Yeah.
Tunnel?
I don't remember if
I
you can in the
interned
House,
for-
but I definitely did in the Senate.
I interned for a congressman one summer.
Which congressman?
Ed Markey, senator now.
Yeah. He's in for a tough re-election.
Is he? Who's
He's running against a Kennedy, or Kennedy's running against him.
as a challenger? I didn't know that. I've sort of lost track. I mean, I see him on social media occasionally, but has it been 6 years, 12 years? At least
I think he's been.
12.
I think this is his.
second term.
I think this is his first term.
Oh, really? It would have been when. So
It would have been after, because he took
He was-
Kennedy's seat.
Okay.
right? Because he's Massachusetts. So Elizabeth Warren beat Scott Brown, so he had to take Kennedy's seat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's only been in for one term.
He was going to run if Kerry won the election. And then I guess I don't know when Kennedy got replaced. But anyway, so I'm familiar with all that stuff. Ed Markey was really
or
nice.
maybe he won in a special election and then was reelected, but I don't think he's been in for more than like 6-8 years. Maybe he has, I don't know.
He was always nice to me. I would sit at the desk when constituents would come in, or just answer calls or write letters to constituents, and sometimes like the Prime Minister of Micronesia literally would come for a meeting and he'd be like, Michael, why don't you come into this meeting? And they wouldn't know who I was, so they'd be like, oh, very nice to meet you, and I'm like, they don't know that I'm no one. And then 2 or 3 times they had me give, constituents came to the office and they had me give them tours of the Capitol, and I barely knew anything about the Capitol, so I just kind of winged it. I had taken a tour when I was a kid, and then just sort of tried to stay near other tour groups. So I'm familiar with what you're talking about. But enough about me. Tell me more about journalism at the Capitol.
It's really competitive.
Really?
It's really competitive.
At the Register or between all the different publications?
It wasn't particularly competitive at the Register. We had our own separate lanes that we stuck to, and we were usually pretty helpful in helping each other out. But it's definitely really competitive. People are really fast. There are some journalists that are really fast in getting stories up online.
I see. So competitive as in first one to get the story? Break the news, or?
Yeah. It's exciting. It was fun having a bunch of people read your stuff. Because we were the DC bureau, we almost always got on the front page, which was good, which is a big deal at a newspaper. You want to be front page.
Nice.
And if you're not front page, you might as well just not even be in the paper. I
Really?
always thought, yeah, unless you're like sports or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you weren't front page, there's no point even being in the paper, I thought.
And most of the readers are in Orange County?
Yeah,
Or
probably.
do they read it all over?
I mean, they're online, but I would say the vast majority probably live in Orange County.
And then how long did you work there in the DC area?
7-8 months.
And then what?
Then they started a paper in Los Angeles briefly, and so I came out here for that, and that's how I came to California.
What was that like moving here?
Really exciting, I loved it. The paper wasn't very stable, but the job was a lot of fun. I covered the county and got to go all over Los Angeles, and really loved the city, or the county. And yeah, I mean, I
LA
really
County
liked it.
or Orange County or both?
LA County. I didn't really write anything with dealing with Orange County when I lived in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And then the paper folded after a couple months, and then I was working for the Orange County paper, finishing on election coverage, and then I didn't get along with my new editor, and so he shipped me down to San Juan Capistrano, which is like very South Orange County.
Okay.
And so I moved down to San Clemente because it's like a 70-mile drive from downtown LA to there, so didn't want to drive 140 miles every day, especially in LA traffic, but even without LA traffic, I don't want to drive that every day. And so I was there for a couple months, and then I ended up getting a lifeline and getting a job covering the Senate at roll call in DC.
Nice. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But like all things in journalism, it was everything was good until our editor-in-chief left, and then that started this power vacuum, and acting editor-in-chief came in, and everyone got fired, and then it just was, I wasn't supported in the way I needed to be to do a good job.
Do you have any memories that really stick out to you of people you interviewed or people you asked questions or anything that happened?
Yeah. I remember I always enjoyed interviewing John McCain. He was always pretty fun. One of my favorite stories I ever wrote was during the last presidential primary, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, they kept like pulling these stunts to try to get attention.
Yeah.
And often
because McCain was way ahead.
No, this wasn't that cycle. This was after that. This
Okay.
was 2016.
Uh-huh.
But they kept pulling all these stunts to try to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it involved us working at like midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And one night, and John McCain just hated Rand Paul.
Why?
I think because he didn't like that he would. A lot of the senators are institutionalists, and they don't like they think of the Senate as this like higher institution, and they like observing
sacred
traditional customs. And Rand Paul, by making it all about him, sort of pissed everyone off, and also I think that they had very different views on foreign policy, and I think that also pissed off John McCain.
Mm-hmm. Rand Paul's more libertarian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And John McCain was a lot more interventionist.
Mm-hmm.
And one night I just followed John McCain around as he just kept going around talking to gaggles of reporters, and he just kept bitching about Rand Paul, like he was just talking so much shit. And I just wrote a story about that, and it was probably my favorite one I ever wrote.
That's cool. I'm sure it was a funny article.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, he wouldn't stop. I mean, he just kept going off, and he was like loving it. He loved talking to reporters. And I always liked interviewing Tim Kaine, who was always a pretty good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughtful. I liked
Senator from Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Former governor too.
Yeah, former vice presidential candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Former Richmond mayor.
Former
Current senator.
dancer.
Yeah, former dancer. Former
Pilates
ice cream
instructor.
scooper. Yeah, he did Pilates in Annapolis with Rick Hamilton.
Rip ran him out of there.
But I always liked him. I liked Chris Coons, who took Joe Biden's seat in Delaware. He was a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked, I actually really liked interviewing Ted Cruz.
Well, how come?
I don't know why. He was always pretty nice, but he...
Is it because he's the Zodiac killer?
Yeah, he was just always... Yeah, he was. He was always pretty good about, like, giving you quotes you could use.
He played Kevin in The Office, didn't he?
Yeah, that's him.
He gave you good quotes.
Always gave good quotes and would always answer you. A lot of them were... Elizabeth Warren was terrible. She just wouldn't speak to anyone. And she always had people... You just see them, they're so insecure. She was bad.
Do you think she's just afraid of a bad soundbite? Or...
I think that
like
she's
Bill
planned on...
Belichick?
No, I think that she had been planning on running for president for so long that she just was very controlling, but in doing that, they become inauthentic, which I think is the same problem as Kamala Harris and other people. But I always liked talking to Jeff Sessions. He was always really nice. No one ever wanted to speak to him, so he was always free to give you a quote. Johnny Isaacson from Georgia was always really good. David Perdue was always really good. Chris Murphy was always pretty good. Mitch McConnell would never speak to anyone.
No.
No. John Cornyn was always really cool. Harry Reid wouldn't speak to anybody. Harry Reid would, but you had to be around a long time for Harry Reid to talk to you. I liked Dick Durbin. He was always nice.
Indiana.
Illinois.
Close.
And...
I knew, what's his name? Dingle. John Dingle. When I was a kid, I was at a dinner party at his house, like watching TV in the kids' room or whatever, and I had to, I was writing a report on Shaka of the Zulus, and I asked my mom if I could, he had a VHS tape of the movie Zulu, and I asked my mom if I could borrow it, and Debbie Dingle was like, of course, sure, and then John Dingle caught wind of what was going on. He's like, not my tape of Zulu. And we we just use a joke about it all the time, like not Zulu. Like, you never watch it again, of course. You know, it was just kind of weird, but he seemed pretty funny on Twitter. So then how did you end up in Sacramento?
So when everything fell apart at Roll Call, I had, in like 9 months, I had like 8 editors, which is your boss. It was just crazy, and it was like a culture of just fear and insecurity, and everyone was worried they were going to get fired, and people were getting fired, and it was just awful. And I missed California, and when I first moved out there, it was worth it to me because I thought it was a cool opportunity. But then when all of the craziness was getting in the way of actually even doing, it's one thing if you can bury yourself in your work, but when you can't even do that, there's literally no point besides drawing a paycheck, and wasn't that interesting. So I had a friend that I had known from the Register, and he had a blog that he had up in Sacramento that he needed someone to go out there for, so I went out there and did that.
What's Sacramento like? And tell me about the hip hop.
They got a lot of Bay Area rap. It's considered Bay Area as far as rap is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
There is some rap there in Sacramento. Brother Lynch Hung being probably the most famous Sacramento one, and the guy from Blackalicious.
Okay. Wait. I thought Blackalicious was a person.
No, there's Gifted Gab and Chief XL.
Oh, okay.
So Gifted Gab for sure is from Sacramento. Chief XL might be, I'm not sure. But they were probably the most famous Sacramento rap groups.
And what's the first guy you said? Hung?
Brother Lynch Hung.
Brother Lynch Hung?
It's pretty good.
It's a unique name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Catches your attention.
Oh, that guy.
Shocking.
I think that guy X-Rated also was from Sacramento. He went to prison. He just got out of prison. Now he lives in LA.
So, more street cred. And material.
He killed someone.
Really?
Yeah.
And he's out?
I think he did 20 years.
I don't know what the...
I think life sentence is 20 years.
That sounds like a misnomer.
Mm-hmm.
You would think life sentence would be life.
Well, you get life, and then you get life without parole.
Good behavior or whatever, where the prisons get too crowded. I wonder whom he
I think
killed.
if you go in there, I mean, it depends on what the crime is. If it's like murder in the first or second degree or something like that. But then I think a life sentence is 20 years.
I always say, don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Well, and he's can kill people because clearly he could do the time.
I guess so. He didn't have a choice, or I guess he could have.
Yeah.
Tried to kill himself.
But Sacramento doesn't have a very vibrant music scene, but it had a better music scene than Springfield, Virginia.
We've talked about Nonchalant, but
Wale.
Besides Wale, like, it's a hip hop vacuum in DC.
Yeah, the closest thing you got is like Norfolk.
Bubba Sparks, Pharrell,
and Mad Skills, but yeah, Neptunes and the Clips.
And Ludacris' mom lives in Virginia, apparently, according to
Chris she worked at Freddie Mac.
Postorino.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta blame Go-Go.
And Biz Markie also lives in Laurel.
Why Laurel? Of all places.
I don't know.
Christina Milian, I think, was from Laurel. I met her. She was like, "Oh yeah, Laurel sucks."
What's his name?
Eminem?
No.
Tupac?
No.
Jay-Z?
No.
Biggie?
He's from
Nas?
Germantown. What is his name?
Dirk Nowitzki.
I'm going to the Googles.
What else can you tell me about Sacramento?
It's really nice. It's cheaper.
You saw Lil Jon at Kings games?
Saw Lil Jon at Kings games?
I love Lil Jon. He's my guilty pleasure rapper. His songs just
Logic.
make me feel good.
Logic is the rapper from Germantown.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
Or Gaithersburg, one of the two.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
So, Sacramento, anything else interesting about Sacramento? Or
It's-
anything at all?
Yeah, I mean, Sacramento's really cool. It's cheaper. It's quieter. It is really, really pretty. It's got a lot of trees everywhere. It's near Tahoe and, the foothills, Folsom. It's near the
Reno?
Bay Area. It's near Reno. Yeah, it's like...
In San Francisco, did you say that?
Yeah.
Bay Area?
Mm-hmm. So I really liked it. I mean, it had a little everything. I mean, Sacramento itself is a little slow, but you know, if you go somewhere on the weekend, it's not that bad. And then on weeknights, there's places. They got a cool little.
Is that what it says on the sign? Welcome to Sacramento. If you go somewhere on the weekend, it's not that bad.
No, but we used to joke and say like, when people would come visit, be like, "Yeah, come out to Sacramento, hang out. We'll go to the Bay Area. We'll go to Tahoe.
Come to Sacramento so we can leave Sacramento."
It's like, yeah, exactly. Like if you come there, you're like showing off other places. But Sacramento itself was pretty cool, and a lot of the surrounding areas like Roseville and Folsom are really nice, and Auburn. So
I used to know Folsom Prison.
Yeah, there's a Johnny Cash museum there.
Museum in the prison, next to the prison?
At the prison, yeah.
Huh. Because it generates money for the prison. I'm sure that money goes to the inmates.
Probably.
We'll have to ask that rapper about it.
Which rapper?
The one who killed someone?
X-rated?
Yeah, we'll ask him. He's gonna be the next podcast episode.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I mean, if you think it's awesome to talk to murderers.
Everyone's allowed to have made a mistake. He did 20 years in prison.
Allowed by, apparently, the legal system. And
if he's not killing, if he's reformed his life, he's not like allowed to kill people, but if he made a mistake, he made a mistake, and it's regrettable, but he's done 20 years in prison for it. That doesn't bring the person back, and it might not be any consolation to the victim's family, but just looking at it purely from his perspective, he did this 20 years. It's not like he got out of it scot-free.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. He missed his entire youth. But he would cut records rapping from the phone in prison.
Would he really?
Yeah, Mac Dre used to do that too.
I heard ODB did that too for the Wu-Tang Forever.
He might have, that
first song. Something like that. I like Mac Dre.
He was the first one to have his lyrics used against him in a court of law. The first rapper. But I saw that somebody just happened recently.
J. Rue the Damager used to warn people about that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Smart.
He said, "I never knew hustlers confessed in stereo." He has a whole verse about it. You Playing Yourself? You know that song, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Love that song.
Primo beat.
And it had kung fu in the music video back when.
The video was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a comic book kung fu thing. Back when MTV had music videos. I used to watch a lot of MTV as a teenager. Beavis and Butthead and all those music videos. And
yeah.
MTV News and.
Yeah.
And then now you're here. What are you doing here in LA?
I liked Sacramento, but I always really liked LA, and I felt like my time here was cut short prematurely. So I wanted to get back down here, and so I am doing some political consulting on the side, but I'm looking for something more permanent, but I'm enjoying being down here. I really like it.
Well, consider this your video resume. Feel free to send this out.
I will.
To potential employers.
Definitely. Well, I wish we had talked more about my successes at work than my failures, but...
The failures are more interesting.
That's true.
You can just splice it so they only hear the part about Outback and...
I have not pushed a manager and been fired for violence in 20 years.
And that's a win.
Like X-rated, I did my time.
Everyone's allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe you will sell a car one day. I'm rooting for you.
I traded in a car. That was the closest thing I ever did.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You got a Honda Accord.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's dope.
It's really dope.
Mm-hmm.
And you're dope. Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for the kiss.
You're welcome. I figured that could be like a calling card. Like at the end of every show, someone blows you a kiss.
Well, you didn't blow it.
Well,
But yeah,
it was implied.
The button on every episode could be a kiss. Like, have a great night. Signing off.
Not hurt you. Alright, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I hope that's on the video.
It sure is. Your bladder.
I got hot mic'd on